is moving slow, but we are here, so we cannot. We thank God. Let me not complain. God has been faithful, so yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
we are live. Oh, we are live. We are live. We are live. I forgot to say thank you for doing this again so quickly in the new year. But Dr. Ayo, I appreciate you for coming. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy first Tuesday, right? It's the first Tuesday in 2025. So yay. Once again, I'm Dr. Olabintom, Living Spring Family Medical Center. I help people live long and well because I believe the quality of life is just as important as the quantity of life. And today we'll be having conversations, on tips around parenting, especially for immigrants. And this is a part two. You asked, we responded, and so we're here with Dr. Ayo Adenuga, who decides to come with us again. Thank you again, Doc, for coming. How are you doing? God bless you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so happy to be here today. And we had a very fantastic one the last time. The response was good. Everybody was excited. Everybody was just happy. So absolutely, absolutely, I'm happy to be here again.
All right. For those who missed the first one and who are wondering, okay, what did I miss? Could you introduce yourself, who you are, and what you do, and why you do what you do?
Again, my name is Dr. Ayo Adenuga. I'm a medical doctor by training. I'm the visionary for ACE Parenting, which is an initiative to help parents navigate that challenges of adolescence and also help children and teenagers to achieve the best version of their lives. I'm also a public health physician, and I'm just happy to be here to impact people, inspire people, and help them to be successful in all areas.
Why do you do what you do? What's with parenting? Like why is that? Yeah. Why that?
First, I've been involved in training and capacity building for youth for a very long time. And then my children transitioned from being lovey-dovey, cuddly to teenagers, fantastic, awesome teenagers. But it also came with its challenges. And I knew that so many parents are struggling with parenting, especially when the children are transitioning from that 9 to 10 and going to preteens and teenagers. So how can I be a help to people out there? How can I help parents better navigate those challenges so that they can also be successful professionally and personally? Because we know that many times the home front impacts our professional lives. We've had parents that have to leave work just because of their children being out of school for one thing or the other, either mental health, physical health, or friendship. We've had parents that just because they couldn't navigate parenting adequately, they had lost a lot in terms of income, in terms of their families, in terms of who they are. So I do what I do just to help people and create a global impact.
I like it. And your passion shines, I have to say. I'm a big fan of yours. I watch you, I follow, I see your thing. So and of course I've had you as a guest. So your passion shines through. Now we're talking, tips for immigrants. And for those who are watching who you can't relate to the immigrant part, these things still apply. So please don't leave. This is going to be good for you too. But the next question I was going to ask is like, what makes parenting a little more challenging, maybe, or what's the unique perspective when it comes to immigrants here, and why there's a unique challenge that they may face?
I would say that parenting in itself is a learning platform for everybody. Like you said, immigrants or not, it is a new phase in everybody's life. Is new for you to parent teenagers. It's new for the teenagers to become teenagers. And then adding on to that, you are also new in the environment. And why it's unique to us is because the children are being taken away, especially those that came midlife, taken away from where they are initially, or it even starts with the parent themselves. They grew up in a particular culture, right? And now they are either in the US, in the UK, or in Canada, or wherever in the world. What they've always known, what has always been the norm has changed. They have to learn new things. And it's more challenging for immigrant parents because while they have to settle down in their new role as immigrant parents or workers, they also have to struggle with dealing with the teenage years, which is a new ball game. And there's no manual for it. And then every child is different, and you do with every child differently. So many immigrant parents are dealing with one, economic changes. And if they don't even have the job they really wanted, they are struggling with career changes. Some parents are struggling with trying to provide for the family. Some have mental issues on their own, trying to fit in, either learning, to fit in their new workplaces or even in the social environment that they are in. And so it's a really, really big challenge to people. And that's why we are here, right? Talking to people and say, how can we help you? What are the things that you can do to be able to navigate this arena successfully without being burnt out, without losing who you are on the inside?
All right. And that's key, like you said, without losing who you are. Because one of the conversations I have is, well, are you saying that we're going to disregard our culture and just put all that away because we're here? And so for the parent who's watching, it's like, okay, how can I help my kid adjust to me, the person who has come from a different country, raising up you, who all you've known may be living here or not, or at least mostly here, so you've accommodated. So what are three practical tips in the balancing act, Doctor?
Practical tips in the balancing act. One thing I would tell parents that you can't lose yourself. You cannot lose your culture, and that comes with values. There are some that will throw away out of the door. There are some cultures that, like they'll say, even though you can't, well, people will say, oh, you have to like smack or draw this before you can make a child listen. Sometimes at a particular age, yes, but you also have to learn. But your culture is also your value. Culture is really a way of life, right? But it comes from your values. What are the values you hold strong? Compassion in the home, integrity in the home, respect in the home. Oh my goodness, I so much hold respect in high because many people have lost the place of respect. You see children being disrespectful to parents, you even see us, our age mates, being disrespectful to elders. I was in a forum recently, and we're in a forum where many immigrant people were in that forum, and somebody got angry and started talking in a very disrespectful way for an elderly one, because we're all speaking English. Whereas when back home in Nigeria, you dare not talk to that person that way. You dare not. And we are seeing that people losing the culture in themselves, adopting different ways to say, okay, we are free to speak the way we want to. Yes, you can express yourself, but there are ways you can't express yourself. So you express yourself confidently, assertively, but respectfully within boundaries.
Okay. So
Parents as well.
Doctor, I want to put. I want us to have this conversation because it's a really touchy subject for people. I remember, you don't look as, even talking confidently can be seen as being rude in our culture. Do we agree? Like if you are talking like, well, I disagree with you. It's me you're talking to. It's me. So how do we let our children know that you may not mean any harm, but when you do this with this tone, you're communicating disrespect, and I don't like it because it's how I'm wired to. Like, how do we that whole respect? Because the children are like, how am I disrespecting you? You're shouting at me, and you're saying I shouldn't shout, and you're like, I'm not shouting. It's just this is how we talk, right? We're loud. Sorry, you understand what I'm saying? But there's a frustration. It's like, I don't know what your problem is. This respect thing, I'm just trying to have a conversation, and they're like, you're shouting and it's back and forth. How do we tell the children that what you're doing is disrespectful, but still understand they're here? I don't even know how to ask the question.
Yeah. Your question is valid. And to be honest, it's not just immigrant parents that shout or yell.
Okay.
Many parents shout and yell, and why we do that is sometimes we don't feel the child is listening or hearing what you're saying, and the child too now matches what we are doing. That's why many parents will say, or parenting coach would teach you how not to yell. It's very difficult, especially when you are here. Not to like, this is what I'm saying, but it can be learned. Now, there are some children that will talk assertively and say, Mom, no, this is it. But there are spaces for assertiveness. A child, you can't do something wrong, and I'm correcting you, and you're still trying to be assertive on something that you've done wrong. But there's something called appeal. And where a child, so I went to parenting classes, and these are even filled with non-immigrant people, right? That are white. And I learned that parenting is across board, demands that respect. But there are different places, there are different phases. We have when a child is an infant, where you can teach a child respect as an infant. You have a time when the child is a toddler, where you teach a child to be within boundaries. Are you able to say no? That time the child only understands instructions. There's a common time whereby you now start to dialogue a bit. So in the time when the child is an infant, sometimes some people just say, stop that, not like smacking, but they understand what the boundary is. When the child gets to upper teenager, you now start dialoguing, start talking. It's now love and logic. And there comes a time when the person just becomes your friend in their 20s. In fact, in their 19s, they've started working, they are earning, they are doing all those kind of things. They are now almost adults. So the freedom expands. Where some parents get it wrong is where we are not able to determine where the boundary lies and where you can allow some freedom. So we still want to control children till they are like 19, 20, 21. And they're like, no.
So you were controlled at that age too.
We were. At 21, I was still in my parents' house. Still collecting pocket money, But guess what? Children nowadays are more assertive. They are more independent. I'll say for free, yesterday it snowed in the house. My son was like, oh my God, it's snowing everywhere. I'm going to clear our front part. And then guess what? He went on every door and knocked on that door and said, hey, want me to help you clear your path? I'm charging a fee. He came in with close to $200. I was like, what? And that is making money. That is seeing an opportunity. So are you going to say, no, don't do that, or don't go to, like Nigerian parents, so don't go to anybody's front yard. They don't know what's going to happen. You have to allow them to take initiative and go forward. But there are some things that you would not allow at a particular age. Like if it's a 13-year-old child, I would not allow that child to go forward at that, because you are not old enough to go to somebody else's house. You don't know what's going to happen. So there'll be boundary at that age. So going back to your question, it's good to help your children to be assertive, to speak up. And when they are speaking, you listen, especially when they've not done something wrong, right? They're like within the boundaries. They say, Mom, can I do this? Can I watch TV for this hours? Can I go to my friend's place? Don't say no all the time. You can say, okay, I can think about this. Okay, this can work. Okay, can we do this and be flexible? So they are hearing all the yeses, all the flexibility when it's allowed. But when the boundary comes and is a non-negotiable, you put your foot down. Like, for instance, you're like, don't eat in your room, and they go to eat in their room. You're like, no. And there's no assertiveness in saying that, oh, that's just excuses, right? And you have to put your foot down. No, you don't do this here. Or the child goes out and stays very late. You let the child know, no, you don't do that. And then when you talk, it's difficult, but we have to control the way we talk. Sometimes you put on an African mother's hat and like, I'm just going to mad. I don't care, I'm just going to tear ground, because you're like, there are some times that you have to be like what they call a mad black woman. Is that what they call it? But we don't have to be there all the time. But building that relationship when things are okay is important. Putting in 5 positives against the 1 negative is important. So they see you genuinely love them. They see it's not out of you just want to be antagonistic, you just want to be a critic, you just want to be on their neck, because they will see it as that. But I would want to encourage parents, really, children will test boundaries. They will push boundaries. They want to know what to allow, what to not allow. They also crave discipline. Many immigrant parents are scared. They don't know where the limit is. They're like, oh, if I do this, what's going to happen? And then they go from being too authoritative, which is not good, to being permissive and let everything go. I don't want any trouble. Let's do their own. And my husband was talking to me 2 days ago, where some parents are giving up their children to the government. They're like, I would rather live for these other children and work than allow the child to report me to the police and then get imprisoned and all. But we don't want to get there. And that's why it has to start from now. Being able to parent your children with leadership skills, coming from communication, and I will give an acronym later, on parent that I learned recently, from a seminar I attended. It was a wow one. And it was about how to be a parent, and they gave an acronym for parenting. Yes.
Okay, so I should save that one for because I was like, okay.
I can say it.
I wanted to say, before we go to that, the acronym, there was something you said about teaching your children, like encouraging them to help our children to be assertive. Now, some parents may be wondering, why would I want my child to be assertive so they can talk to me? But it is important for us to teach them that so that they can defend themselves outside, they can speak up for themselves. Because if we teach them to be subdued, then they will replicate that outside. And that was a very big point I wanted to emphasize, because I had to learn that too, that it's for their own good.
Yeah.
And it helps them in the long term. It's beyond our ego.
Yes.
So
assertiveness is not aggressiveness. They're two different things.
Okay.
And that's where we want our children to be assertive but not aggressive.
Okay.
We want our children to be confident and not prideful. We want our children to be compassionate and not permissive in everything, that everything goes. So being assertive means the child is able to speak with confidence and ask with confidence and say what's on their mind, but with respect. There's a difference between being assertive and saying no, or say, oh, mom, this is what I feel about this. I disagree on this. Or mom say, oh, have you done this? And the mom is like, oh, mom, I actually have. I've done my chores. I've read my books. I've done this. Can I still have screen time? Oh, you spent 4 hours on screen. Oh, mom actually spent just about 3 hours. And I've done my chores. I've done my books and everything. Can't I have just more time? So you're like, okay, you think about it. Okay, but I don't want to, I'll just give you 30 more minutes or 1 more hour. Mom, can I go to my friend's place? Who is this friend? And the child is able to say, oh, my friend she's my grade school. We are friends in school. She's brilliant. She helps me when I go to her house. These are the things I hope to achieve. She's talking. She's advocating for herself. She's saying it. But there are some children that are aggressive. And you're like, oh, you spend why? And they start shouting. They start, no, you don't want that. You don't want children that feels aggression helps them. Once they start shouting, once they start being angry, you step back. And then they say, oh, so this works. And they'll continue that path. And you have to let them know that, no, you don't shout. You don't shout at me. You don't use that tone. For me, I hear you are trying to talk, but that tone is disrespectful. Can we start all over again? Or I've told my child before, when you're ready to be respectful, then I'll listen to you. And I walked out. And I walked out. When you want to, so you have to be assertive as a parent as well, not angry. You have to have emotional control as well. Take a deep breath, know what you want to do, and let your child know what you're going to do. You did this, and this is what I'm going to do. But your emotions has to be in control, has to be in check.
God help us. That's a tough one.
It's always a tough one. And that's why we parents have to have a lot of self-care. Because when you are not balanced emotionally, you are likely to get triggered off at everything, your thoughts, your
Mm, mm,
actions, your words, and it
mm,
goes in a loop.
mm, mm. All right, let's talk about the acronym because I think it still goes with the tips for parenting and
Yes,
for
it does.
everyone, immigrants or not. So please share with us. We're excited.
Thank you. So parenting or parents, and that is PARENTS. The P is a priest. A parent has to be a priest in the home.
Oh,
A
I love
priest is an advocate. When we go to for instance, when we go to the church or when you go to your place of worship, we go to the pastor, and we feel as if the church is a safe space for us. Your children have to see your home and you as a safe place for them. They have to know mom, dad has my back. They're at my corner. They mean well for me. You have to also be the link to divinity, a
Mm.
representative of God, whereby they know that you are a praying parent. There was a day something happened to my child and my son, and was like, I was like, okay, let's pray. Say, oh, mom, you're always praying. I was like, yes, that's my superpower. So let's pray.
Yes, it is to do it.
And when things happen, I'll say, do you see God in this?
Mm.
And be like, oh, that's true. If not for God, this would have happened. So you have to always be a priest in your home. You have to be the link between your child who has not known God and you that knows God well.
Mm.
That is the P. Then the A is available. As a parent, you have to be available to your children. You have to schedule time to meet with them. It can be casual talk. It can be just cooking. It can be just doing anything, but you have to be available. And some parents say, oh, my son doesn't talk. Yes, he might not talk all the time, but when he wants to talk, are you there? There was a day I was walking and my son just came, hey, mom, what do you think about this? I dropped everything and I was listening. Yes. Oh my God. Oh, yes, that's hard. And he was just talking. And
Yes.
just be available. They need your presence and not your presence.
Presence.
So, for instance, there was my aunt, and she had a child, and she loves the child very much, no doubt about it. But she was working, and that's immigrant parents for you. We want to make that extra money, right? And they work and do night shift, morning shift, and during the birthday, she bought all those things. And he said, Mom, I don't want a birthday. I don't want all those presents. I want you.
Mm.
I want you. I've not seen you in a very long time. So everything was meaningless to him. So please, this is what Jesse Jackson said. Your children need your presence more than your presence. So R is reference.
All I need for Christmas
Yes,
is
is you.
you. Ooh. Okay.
Oh God, yes. And the R is reference. A parent must be a reference to all life's question. The
Mm.
child, that's almost like mentoring,
Mm.
right? You have to show what you want your children to be. You can't say, hey, don't do this and you're doing it. Don't spend so much time on your screen and you're doing it. Many of us are on screen every day, and I'll tell my children, when you're eating, don't be on screen. Sometimes I'll be on my phone. I'll be like, nope, and I'll turn it immediately away. So you have to also catch yourself in those things that you're doing. Punctuality. Do you want your children to be punctual? Then you have to be punctual. Do you want them to be compassionate? You have to be compassionate. Then the E is example, the same thing. Parenting is not never as do as I say, but do as I do. You have to walk the talk. And that's be an example. N is be neutral. In everything, just assume positive intent. Be neutral. Don't always feel as if your child is always doing something negative.
Mm.
Always be positive with your parents, with your children. Whenever they do something wrong, the first thing is be neutral. Okay, why did this child do this? No, this child is always like this. You're
Mm.
always doing this. You just always cause trouble because we have this hood on our eyes. So
Mm.
when the child is I'll say hard child, if I can put it that way, or strong-willed child. And no child is bad. Some are strong-willed, some are not, right? But you always have this hood on your eyes whereby once a child does this, it makes you react because of the past experiences. But we have to learn to be neutral. Always put yourself in a third position and assume positive intent first before you look at the situation and say, okay, why did you do this? And then you can now go forward, right? Then the T in parents is train up your child the way it should go and you'll never depart. So you're a trainer. Parents are trainers. So I've spoken about P, which is being a priest. I was talking about the A, being available. I'm talking about the R, being a reference for your child. And someone said that a child can never see God as a father if he's finding it difficult to see the own father as a father, right? So you have to always be a reference for your children. And I said E, be an example. N, be neutral. T, be a trainer. And S, always, always be supportive. Let your child know that you are available to support them. A child will not hear what you have to say until they know that you are always there for them, that you love them. And that's where care and candor comes in. Care is you have compassion, you show them love, right? Candor is you say the facts. You don't try to rub them on their head all the time because discipline is important, but support is important. What do they need? You let them know, how can I help you? What support do you need at this point? Sometimes they just want you to listen. And when you listen and do everything, it's okay. How do you want me to support you at this time? Oh, Mom, I got it. I'm okay. Okay. If you need me, I'm here. Let me know. And so that's the acronym for parents that parents can use always. But one thing I've seen that matters the most is listening. Listening to our children, because it makes them to feel seen. It makes them to feel relevant.
Dr. Ayo, that's a very good point. And I want to use that to segue into this point that sometimes people feel as parents, or the children feel like my parents seem to be from a different time zone. You know, they can't relate to my struggles, or they tell me like, your problems, you don't have any problems, you don't have any struggles. We used to do this. We had to walk for 10 miles. We had to wash rocks with our hands, all the things. What do you advise to that parent who is like, I don't understand what his problem is. We had a harder life. Like,
oh my goodness, because I'm laughing because many a times, but that's why as parents, you always have to, it's called empathy, knowing that each child has their own struggles. And this generation have gone through a lot of struggles. Why I say that is, while we struggled with maybe essential things, maybe there's no light, we have to go and get, then, either fuel for generator, or you get candles or things like that. There's no water, you have to go and fetch water with buckets on your head. You're in boarding school, you have to walk miles and miles to get this. While immigrant children don't have those kind of struggles, there's light, there's water, there are resources everywhere. They struggle with something that is harder, that is unseen, and that's mental health. Now, if somebody comes in the room and is burning, right, on the outside, you're not going to just look at the person and say, hey, okay, you're burning, you're okay. You're going to call 911, right? The way a person is born on the outside, that's how people born on the inside for mental health. So we can't see it, but we have to be able to feel it and say, oh, I know where you're coming from. And you can also relate because the struggles are sometimes the same. Friendship as well. When we're in school, we had friendship issues. As we are growing up right now, we still have friendship issues where there are some people that in your clique, and you hear that, oh, they've gone to this party and you're not invited. Like, what? I thought I was with you. That kind of thing. Or at your workplace, whereby you feel excluded or sidelined. So you can really relate and say, oh, I hear you. I know it can be hard. I've experienced the same thing while I was your age. You tell your story, and you say it now. Or where they are made to read so much. Right now, they make them read as if they're at universities, and you can say, oh, I see your struggle. We didn't used to read this hard, right? We used to struggle with different other things, but how can I help you? So we don't push off their own struggles. we relate with it, right? And then we hear them talk. Don't talk about your own, don't talk about all yours, right? To say, oh, like you said, this is what we used to do. We used to do. What are you going through? What? And I'll give you an example. 2 days ago, my daughter were in the kitchen together and she was chopping some onions and she cut her hand. I was like, oh, sorry. But my mom was like, is it not that small cut? I was like, and I said, sorry, but you're growing up. That's growing up, that's a sign of growing up. Within 15 minutes, God wanted to teach me a lesson. I cut my hand as well.
Oh.
So I was like, so when she came and said, oh, mom, this, I was like, oh, sorry.
Right.
I feel the same pain, I'm like, okay, so just put some Vaseline, put some pills. So guess what? We are also struggling. We must not feel as if only the children are struggling. We as parents also struggle, and you have to help your children to relate to those struggles. And the word says that we go through trials so that God comforting us, we can comfort other people.
People with the same way.
So that's the place where you can also comfort them and say yes, and then provide support for them. Who has gone through that you can pull, in? What kind of resources they need that you have access to that you can pull in? Who are the mentors in their environment that you can pull in and say, hey, can you help me mentor my child? She's struggling with this or he's struggling with that. Or opportunities, and Nigerian parents know how to do this, whereby they just look for those opportunities and plug their children in. But the children have to be interested and want that support.
Okay. I have one. We're already past time, but as always, we haven't had a chance to ask the question. But I have a parent here who's watching, who's like, well, we turned out fine. Like, why are we having this conversation? I was raised that way. My parents were tough. They didn't say I love you. Never heard I love you. We're not allowed to talk with them or sit with them in the living room, and we turned out okay. What is your feedback to that, Doc?
My feedback to is that we turned okay, but we had community of helpers. I remember that growing up, I wasn't raised by my mom alone. We had fostered siblings that were in the home with us. In church, we were raised by other people. We had aunts, we had senior people that would look out for us. And when you do something wrong, they'll pull you back. In fact, they would have parented you before your parents come. So we turned okay because we had community of life builders. We have people that genuinely loves us. We have people that genuinely are looking out for us. They might not do it in the best way, but we know it's really out of love. In today's space, there's so much. The child is exposed to so much. And that's why you have to be the first person to let your child know, I love you and God loves you more. Again, I'll repeat it. You tell your child, I love you, God loves you more. So the child can know who to turn to when they have issues. Now, the child is in school. The home is the first place. They have the school. Now, the school has taken over, and that's what's happening. They're taking over the space of parenting and taking over some authorities from even parents. In some of the policies, especially when it comes to sexual and reproductive health and mental health, a teacher can decide to help a child in their sexuality without the parents knowing. After that, you have the policy. The policy enables that to happen. A child can say, I want to change my sexuality, and goes to the counselor, and they allow them to go through it. A child can be pregnant and go to the counselor, and they help the child to go through abortion, and you don't know. A child can go through mental health issues and says, I don't want my parents to know, and the child, So where things are different now is that you have to be at the forefront. The social media is there. Children are learning a lot from social media. It's an open book. So you should be the first person to let your child know, I love you. Before I had a phone, I was in university. And when we are calling, we had a landline. And then if you're not careful, somebody has picked at the other side. If someone has picked it, then we had time on the TV that everybody has to watch it together. So you know what each person is watching. Now you have YouTube, you have Netflix, they can be watching different things. You don't know what's happening. And that's why parents, you have to, number one, be integral to letting your children know that you love them and you care for them and God loves them. Have your devotional with them. That's a place of connection. If you have to say a 5 minutes prayer in the morning, say it. I do my best to do that every morning. Or let's pray. We'll just say a word of prayer, a Bible verse, and we've dispersed. Have it with them. Thirdly, have a one-on-one with your children. I know you are busy as parents, but you have to touch base with them. How did your day go? What are you grateful for? What challenges are you having? They might say nothing, they might say something, but you are there. They know that mom will always check up on me. Dad will always check up on me. It's important for you to do for them. Third, grant them the support that they need. Because it's when you reproduce, they see mom is able to do this, do that, then they will come to you because they know you're always a place of help. So whatever you're doing, you have to make sure that you check with your children. You are linked to them. But I said this before, we are only caretakers of these children. They are still not our identity. They are here for a while. Whatever your child is going through, either challenges, don't feel that, oh, I've done it wrong, I've not gotten it right. No, there's still a space. And then link up with community of helpers. One of the prayers that one of my mentors said is, she was mentoring my child, and he said one of the prayers that she did is, when my child is not listening to my voice anymore, Lord, raise up destiny helpers that they can listen to, that will point them towards their destiny and, and help them. So yeah, so those are my tidbits.
You said a whole lot, Dr. Ayo, and I'm very happy that we extended time so we can capture this. The truth is, there's more of a burden of responsibility on us as parents in this time of season. That's why we're having this conversation. We need to make the time. If you need to schedule time with your children, please do. I do that while they know their time. I send them links in this day and age, and they accept the invite, and it's okay, mommy, it's time. And we've got to show them what God is like. We've got to get in their world, get over ourselves and our busy schedule, and prioritize these children, because there are a lot of people, a lot of things doing parenting out there. It's not to scare us, it's to challenge us to rise to the occasion, to look for help, support, to ask questions on how we can communicate better with our children, to get into their faces, to get into their world. I'm trying to learn Roblox. So that I think,
oh, my daughter is on Roblox all the time.
I'm trying to understand. They have a house, they build stuff. I'm like, okay, so looks like Lego. The right Lego to me, but okay. So you understand? So we need to get interested in what's interesting to them.
Yeah.
Because we are their biggest influencers. We're their mentors, and they are our first ministry.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Man, you the bar. I didn't even touch it. We're going to do another one.
But can I say one quick thing?
Please,
and it goes to what you spoke about technology. Technology is still our friend. We can make technology work for us, not being our master, but work for us. You said something like schedule time with your children. Use your phone and send text to your children midday, end of day, and just say, how are you? I love you, right? For those parents that their children are not with them, maybe they're in another country, schedule time. Schedule FaceTime, right? Technology can work for you. Don't say, oh, my children are here, whatever. No, just schedule the time. It can be daily, FaceTime, WhatsApp, whatever the technology you have. Schedule time with them. They would really, really appreciate them. Then sometimes when you do FaceTime, there are some things they can't hide completely. You can see the emotions there. So don't shy away from using your technology to work for you. It really is important you connect with your children in that note. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm typing, chatting so everybody can see it. Use technology to connect with your children. Schedule if you must. Thank you so much for doing this. As we wrap up, I have that parent who's watching who's like, oh, go. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. all the different phrases, and they're like, wow, you know what, this is something that I can start, but I feel a little weird. I fear rejection because my child may think this is a new trick or ploy. Any words of encouragement to nudge our parents to take that bold step?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Doc.
yeah. Just do it from a place of love, and don't take things personally. Some children are hurting on the inside, and they're in this dark space, and you have to have empathy for them. They are fighting, they are pushing away, but they still need love. Don't take it personally. Don't feel hurt because they can say hurtful things. They can even say, "You're not my mother. I hate you." Don't
Mm,
worry. Pray for them. Be who you are, the mother. Don't move away from them instead, but move closer.
mm,
Through prayers, through connections, and God has got you. I want
mm,
to encourage every parent out there, sincerely from the bottom of my heart. God has got you and you can do this. Don't take any insult personally. Don't be angry and extend your anger to the point that you start speaking to them in a negative thing, because the word of parents are powerful. Even our hearts is powerful. Without saying a word, what you feel inside is powerful. So just take a deep breath.
mm, mm,
Be upset for a moment because you're allowed to be upset and to be angry. Breathe out the anger, breathe in the love, and pray for them.
mm.
Yeah.
Let's write that one down. Breathe out the anger, breathe in love, and let out the love.
Let out the love.
Oh, I love that. Oh, we receive grace. Other parents, I pray for grace. That's that's a powerful place to be.
Yes.
Can be a hard place to be, but it's a powerful place to be. So we receive grace to parent, to pour, to not take things that they've done to hurt us to heart, but instead receive grace and the love that flows from God, so we can extend that to our children. Yeah. Wow, this is good. This is good. I love
Thank
I
you.
love And yes, oh, sorry, Sir Bishop is here. Thank you so much for joining. He said, don't move away from them, rather move closer. Even when they're pushing and kicking and saying words to push you, they're testing their boundaries to see, do you really love me? That's what they're saying. So
Yeah.
don't let them go, but bring them in. Thank you so much, Dr. Ayo.
There's a study that showed that there are some children that would rather you fight them than ignore them.
Wow.
The
Wow.
people that are being ignored, I say, just leave them. And you ignore them to everything, they go more into depression than even the children you're like, come, you talk to, or correct, or reprimand, or love, sincerely.
Hmm.
Action is better than no action. So never ignore your children. Okay, I'm not saying anymore. I know you're over time.
Well, no, this was good, and that was a powerful thing. Oh, I forgot the phrase. Breathe in the anger and breathe out the love. No, which one? Let out the anger. Tell me
That
now.
came, that came out spontaneously. You have to go back and watch the
Let me
replay.
see. Oh, breathe out anger and let in the love. Hey, Lord, I will go back and read because it was so deep. I was trying to type out. Okay, all right. I'm going to. Oh, breathe out the anger and let out the love. Oh,
Yes, yes,
yes, yes,
yes,
that was
yes.
it. Breathe out there. Oh, Lua. Okay. Thank you so much for doing this.
You're
Doc, where can
welcome.
people find you so they can connect with you, have you come speak on their platforms too, and encourage their network? So, Doc, where can people find you?
Yeah, thank you. The first place you can get me straight up is on LinkedIn. Is
Mhm.
Dr. Ayo Adenuga. You can DM me anytime. I would always love to be on your platform and to work with you, work with your community. I do speaking, either as for executive leaders or for parents. I speak, I coach, I train. You can find me there. My YouTube again is Dr. Ayo Adenuga. And on Facebook, Dr. Ayo Adenuga. Connect with me. I would love to work with you. And 2025 is going to be our best year yet.
That's right. Woo! That's right. We declare it. Oh, she's Dr. Ayo Adenuga on all the things. So look for her, Google her, follow her. That is
Yeah.
noteworthy. I don't want to call it binge worthy because you shouldn't binge, but she's a worthy someone you should follow. She's good people's. Thank you so much, Doc, for doing
You're
this.
welcome. Thank
God
you.
bless you. God bless you. Thank you all for watching. Please share this with those who could find this useful. Tag them in the comments. Download the video if you need to. But forward this. This will be very, very helpful in this time and in many seasons to come as well. As always, if you or anyone you know is looking for an awesome, a thorough and compassionate family physician that will have conversations like this to help you and your family and your loved ones live long and well, I am she. Have a good one. You guys can go replay this so you can hear all the things she said. This was good. All right, Doc. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. I will see you on the next tete-a-tete and video.